Hi, my name is Michael Simonds, and some of you may know me. I'm the technical lead here at Suburban Community Channels. And I wanted to talk to you about some of the myths that seem to be floating around about audio, especially in the digital domain. A lot of people like to record their audio at -20 or -12, even in some cases -18. Online, you see a lot of DV user forums that will say, oh, you're only supposed to record your audio at this level. Nobody ever really says why. Nobody ever really tells you what's going to happen if you go above that. I'm here to tell you, and at least in my opinion, I think it's all completely false. Back in the old days when digital audio was first invented, the theory behind it was you could record as loud as you want as long as you don't go above 0. That was supposed to simplify things when it came to terms with recording digital audio. There were things in the analog world with different operating levels between certain devices and so on. They kind of would get confusing for some people after a while. Recording to 0 without going over was supposed to simplify things. Well, what happened was these old-time engineers noticed that there was nothing that would represent an average in digital audio. And so when it came to laying down slates, otherwise some of you may know as bars and tone, they wanted to know where should we record this level at for calibrating other devices and so on. Nowadays you kind of see it becoming more and more uncommon where that doesn't happen at all. However, there are these things that linger from the past where some people decided that -20 was a good place to lay down, say, a 1K reference tone. Some other manufacturers say -12, some even say -18. Now, somewhere along the line, somebody got confused with average and converted that to being a maximum, which really is not true. Think of as -20 and 0, try to record your audio in there. You don't necessarily need to record at 0, but there's certainly nothing wrong with going over -20 or -12. Anybody that rips a CD, say if you're editing and you go to your music library and you rip a CD, I mean, look at the waveform. The waveform's peaking almost at 0. There's a variety of different meters that we reference throughout the facility here, and unfortunately, they all mean something different. The first one that a lot of you see is the VU meter, otherwise stands for the volume unit meter. This is a mechanical meter. It was one of the first meters to measure audio levels invented. And what a VU meter really represents is your average audio level. A VU meter is actually typically slow because it takes a mechanical movement to show that point in level and time. So VU meter is actually not able to show what your peak levels are. Now, we have around here what are called peak meters, and you'll see those typically, like on your camcorders, or we have our Mackie mixers here. They're usually like an LED-based type of a meter, and that will actually show the peak level of your audio versus the average like a VU meter will. Now, when you're working on something, say like Final Cut Pro, or better yet, even some digital decks, that meter usually represents what is called dB full scale. Otherwise, you'll see dBFS is the acronym for it. And that's not only is that representing kind of a level, but it also, in a lot of ways, represents resolution. The difference between a VU meter and a peak meter is a VU meter is not able to show you, like if you have any hot spikes or things like that. Whereas a peak meter will do a much better job, like say you're hitting +6 or something like that. A VU meter will actually not be able to show that. There have been some questions on how to get good microphone levels when doing shoots in the studio. Following these simple steps will help you achieve good results. The first thing you want to do is a button that is probably ignored by most of you, and it's called the solo button, and you can find it down here just above the fader. When you push the solo button, it isolates that source into your control room section of your audio board and changes the meters to reflect the internal gain of that channel only. Then what you do is you reach up to the top of the board and you reach for your microphone trim. the trim, otherwise known as the microphone preamp, is actually where you set 90% of your audio levels. And you adjust that until you see on the meters your audio is just peaking at 0, right where you see these Mackies, for example, have a very specific level set arrow with a little blinking light, as you can see. Disengage your solo button and bring your fader up to 0, and you're off and running.